African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals, intelligence, and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command and combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing on the progress of the special military operation as of March 11, 2026. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. As a result of intensive actions, units of the North Group of Forces gained control over Chervonaya Zarya in the Sumy region. Strikes were carried out against the manpower and hardware of two armed forces of Ukraine, mechanized brigades and a territorial defense brigade close to Myropolye, Pavlovka, Krapovshchina, Kianitsa, and Glukov in the Sumy region. In Kharkov region, units of three mechanized brigades, a motorized infantry, an artillery brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a border service detachment of Ukraine were hit near Verkhnaya Pisarevka, Udi, Lebedevka, Rubezhnoye, Malaya Volchya, Olshany, and Karechnoye in the Kharkov region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 245 troops, an armored fighting vehicle, 12 motor vehicles, and 2 field artillery guns. A Pelican radar reconnaissance station and an ammunition depot were neutralized. The West Group of Forces improved the situation along the front line. Russian troops engaged manpower and military hardware of 4 mechanized brigades, a Guard brigade of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a National Guard brigade near Petrovka, Kovalevka, Grushevka, Osinovo, Prosyanka, and Alexandrovka in the Kharkov region, and Krasny Lyman in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy losses amounted to up to 180 troops, 4 U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carriers, 4 armored fighting vehicles, 14 motor vehicles, 2 155mm Bogdana self-propelled artillery systems, and a Czech-made Vampire MLRS combat vehicle. 5 ammunition depots were destroyed. Elements of the South Group of Forces took more advantageous lines and positions. They hit units of 5 mechanized brigades, an assault brigade, a mountain assault brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a Marine brigade close to Slavyansk, Ray Alexandrovka, Sergeyevka, Kurtovka, Verolyubovka, and Konstantinovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost more than 190 troops, a U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carrier, 4 armored fighting vehicles, 8 motor vehicles, and 5 field artillery guns. 2 ammunition and fuel depots as well as 6 materiel depots were neutralized. The Center Group of Forces improved the tactical situation. Strikes were launched at manpower and hardware of 4 mechanized brigades, a Jaeger brigade, an airmobile brigade, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, a territorial defense brigade, the Azov Special Forces Brigade, and 3 National Guard brigades close to Novonikolaevka, Dobropolye, Svetloye, Shevchenko, Belitskoye, Grishino, Zolotoy Kolodez, Marievka in the Donetsk People's Republic, Gavrilovka, Novopavlovka, and Fedorovskoye in the Dnepropetrovsk region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 350 troops, 2 armored personnel carriers, 7 armored fighting vehicles, 10 motor vehicles, 3 artillery guns, and a radar. The East Group of Forces continued advancing into the depth of enemy defense. Formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 2 air assault brigades, 1 assault brigade, 3 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade have been hit near Kopani, Novosoloshino, Shirokoye, Dolinka in the Zaporozhye region, Pokrovskoye, Prosyanaya, Gai, and Kolomitsi in the Dnepropetrovsk region. The enemy lost more than 315 troops, 2 armored personnel carriers, an armored fighting vehicle, 5 motor vehicles, and 3 artillery guns. 2 ammunition depots and 2 materiel depots were eliminated. Units of the Dnieper Group of Forces inflicted losses on the manpower and hardware of a mountain assault brigade and a territorial defense brigade near Malokatarinovka in the Zaporozhye region, and Koblevo in the Nikolaev region. Up to 90 Ukrainian troops, 2 U.S.-made HMMWV armored fighting vehicles, 20 motor vehicles, a 152mm D-20 howitzer, an Israeli-made Rada counter-fire radar, 4 electronic warfare stations, an ammunition depot, and 2 materiel depots have been neutralized. Operational tactical aviation, unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the armed forces of the Russian Federation have inflicted damage on fuel and power infrastructure of Ukraine, used for the interests of the armed forces of Ukraine, launching sites of long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, as well as temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed forces and foreign mercenaries in 150 areas. Air defense systems shot down 2 UK-made Storm Shadow cruise air-to-surface missiles, 4 guided aerial bombs, 6 US-made HIMARS MLRS projectiles, and 350 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 671 aircraft, 284 helicopters, 121,685 unmanned aerial vehicles, 651 anti-aircraft missile systems, 28,171 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,686 MLRS combat vehicles, 33,782 field artillery guns and mortars, 56,423 support military vehicles. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.